Hey, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, then my name is Erica, and today I'm going to be talking a bit about ableism within environmental spaces and the sustainability movement. So if you're interested in that, just keep watching. And I came up with this idea because I was reading this book for grad school. It's called Beasts of Burden by Sonora Taylor, and it's about the intersections between disability and justice and animal liberation, and the overlap between ableism and speciesism. I hope I'm saying that word right. If I'm not, I'm sorry. But more than just the fact that I was reading this book, it's kind of a silly little side tangent, but what really inspired me to make this video, and I hope it doesn't pop off as I'm holding it, but I have these little they're basically, I'll take it off, they're basically chip bag clips, and the reason I have them on this book is because as someone with cerebral palsy, I don't have the best dexterity and motor control, so when I'm trying to quote the book, or even not just quote, but if I'm trying to paraphrase something while I'm writing a paper about it, I can't hold the book in its place and type at the same time. So me and my mom came up with putting the little chip bag clips on in the book, and that just reminds me that a lot of things that able-bodied people would consider wasteful can be super helpful to disabled people. And I just thought it was kind of ironic that while I was reading that book, I was using these plastic clips, which a lot of people that are really into sustainability would probably frown upon. But it's when you're disabled, you have to do what you have to do to get by. And it's pretty well known that a lot of times people that are environmentalists, or they want to talk about sustainability and reducing waste, which, by the way, I have nothing against that. I care a lot about the environment, but I feel a lot of people will just label things as wasteful, or even not even just wasteful, but sometimes they'll even call a product oh, this is just for lazy people, and this is the problem with America, blah blah blah. And they don't realize that certain things help disabled people get by. Even if you go to a grocery store and you see there's fruit that's cut up and it's in plastic packaging, a lot of people would be oh my god, so wasteful. And yes, but also for somebody that cannot cut up their own food and they don't have somebody there to do it for them, that's a literal lifesaver. And even with the whole plastic straw debacle, that people wanted to ban plastic straws, and they were kind of successful, because in my county, restaurants are not allowed to serve plastic straws. But the thing is somebody who doesn't have much control over their mouth and they don't have the ability to like hold a cup and put it in their mouth, plastic straws are a lifesaver. And I know there are alternative materials straws can be made of, but for some people, plastic straws, particularly the bendy plastic straws, are the best options, especially if say someone isn't able to clean like a metal straw out. So that can be dangerous if they don't have a clean straw and they're constantly drinking out of it and like bacteria or like mold is building up in there if they can't clean it out. And I just think it says a lot about us as a society that when we look to be sustainable, right away we are scapegoating disabled people when there are industries out there literally destroying the environment. And I'm not saying that individual choices that people make to become more sustainable don't matter, but instead of nitpicking and being like, oh, plastic straws, so wasteful, and oh, disabled people care about themselves more than the environment. Instead of doing that, you should focus more on holding big corporations accountable. Push for bills that will like regulate certain industries, because it's like at the end of the day, individual people can only do so much to combat something that is happening on such a large scale, and that if big business is responsible for something, your individual choices will only go so far. And I know that's kind of a bleak outlook on things, but I think it's also kind of realistic. And we need to talk about holding companies accountable because, and this might be a little bit of a conspiracy theory woo-woo, but like sometimes I feel like companies will like reinforce the idea that you're the one that can make the difference, so that'll distract you and be like, oh yeah, it's on me, instead of, because now you're focusing on your own actions so much, and not even just your own, but micromanaging the actions of those around you, which is where the ableism comes into play. But you're so focused on that you're not really paying attention to what the company is doing and what is really causing a lot of environmental destruction. And that is not to say that as individuals we have no responsibility, because we do. And there are small changes you can make in your life that can make a difference. But I also think that telling disabled people that they're wasteful for eating fruit that comes from plastic containers, or using plastic straws, or using these little chip bag lips, I think you doing that, number one, is ableist. And number two, it's not it's not going to help your cause. In fact, I think the sustainability movement would be much more powerful, much more successful if they not only included disabled people, but they took a step back and allowed disabled people who have the floor for a bit so that we can talk about our needs. Because and I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but a few years ago, because you know how pretty much every year now there are a bunch of wildfires sweeping through California, and it's very scary, and it seems like it's the new normal every year, which is absolutely terrifying. But a few years ago, when they were in their wildfire season, is that a thing? If you're from California, you can comment down below and correct me if I'm wrong, because I am not from California. But ESEG, which is their electric company, they decided to periodically shut off a bunch of people's electric. But what happened there was they didn't really let people know before they were going to do it, and there are people that are dependent on ventilators. So if they're not made aware that their electric is being turned off, that could literally end their lives. And so I think when we look towards environmental solutions, we also need to look towards disabled people, because ultimately, if you're going to use something as a solution that's going to harm disabled people, is that really the best solution? And I think that's the end of this video. I know it was a fairly short video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, or if you learned something, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you have not already and you are interested in seeing more of my content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.